Well, happy Mother's Day to all of the mothers out there. And happy Mother's Day, honey.
Thank you.
So on Mother's Day, we're going to take a walk to the garden. Yesterday was a really busy day. I didn't really get a chance to film because I had so much stuff to do. But I will show you what we did in the garden. And as you'll see that there's some added changes to our garden. We have gotten some new plants in. These are all the plants that I wanted to plant. This is where all the tomatoes didn't make it. And I found out why my tomatoes didn't make it. So when I was planting those tomatoes, and I made my hole, and I put triple 13 fertilizer in the hole, just a little bit, by half a handful into the bottom of each hole, and not thinking, and then planting the plants. Well, so I murdered every single tomato plant that I put in a row, like 13 of them. And how I noticed it, when I was digging up my row, I noticed that there was some triple 13 in the hole when I was pulling the old plants up. So I didn't know if that was going to affect it or not, or if time wore them down, so I took all of that out as well. So yeah, I burned all my plants. So that was why. It wasn't the ground, I don't think. I think it was by my mistake. And here's my poor lonely little tomato trying to make it. So I weeded it and I got all the dead pieces. You know, let's see what happens. Here's the other plants. These are the tomatoes I have staked up. Oh, let me show you the other ones I planted. These are all peppers. I put these in the ground yesterday too. And I went up to about right here was where I stopped tilling back with a hoe. Got all the dirt fluffed back up. This is a Tabasco pepper. In New Iberia, Louisiana is where the Tabasco peppers are. You can actually visit the plant, which is really cool to see. You have to go during the weekdays, don't go on a weekend. Because if you go on a weekend, then you're not going to be able to see them in production. But if you go during the week, you can, when you're doing your walkthrough, you could actually watch them through the whole process of what they do with the Tabasco peppers from the beginning to the end where it makes it in the bottle. And it's a really cool tour. So if you're ever in Louisiana, in the New Iberia area, it's something really neat to check out. Because this sauce goes worldwide everywhere. So if you're ever wondering where it comes from our neck of the woods. These are jalapeno peppers that I planted yesterday. I got 2 of them in the ground. And then this is a red beefsteak tomato. I put that in there. And then here's another tomato, which is the black cherry tomato. And another black cherry tomato. And then we got in some yellow pear. What is this? Yellow pear cherry tomatoes. 2 of them. So that's what we added to the garden. The squash, like I said, it's standing all back up now, which is really cool. Man, we're gonna have a lot of squash. Whole lot of squash. And some viewers commented about dehydrating their vegetables, and I have a dehydrator, so I'm gonna start looking at that as well as one means of doing something with the vegetables, as well as you know, canning. So we looked at an American canner. We haven't purchased it yet, but we're about to. And I think the arrival date, once we do get it purchased, I think it's like mid next month. So that's okay. One viewer asked about caging the small tomato, and I left a comment. I did cage it. I put it in there, so I'm hoping that helps. I am tapping to try to pollinate, and I come out here every day. So like all the little flowers, I'll tap them to kind of help them out. Maybe try to pollinate. So guys, I'm learning so much stuff with all of your comments, and I put them into practice too as well. You know, so I'm not just looking at it and going over it and forgetting about it. I try to do is, and I'm gonna do the eggshells, guys. Somebody told me about the eggshells, so we're gonna start incorporating that, powdering the egg shells and getting them in the garden. So the cucumbers are doing fine. Let's check out our cucumber that I showed y'all. There it is. And there it is, and it's getting bigger. This is what else I did yesterday. So I made some little PVC pipe. I put them in, made like a little tent, and I put some well, my daughter Miley stayed out here yesterday doing some bird netting. She's not done with it, but she's doing such a great job. Still got a little mess in the garden because we got the little ties that we're using that she's using to put them on. While she got up to here, and I'm gonna put the bird netting up just to keep, maybe even keep the moth. See it? That's one of those little crazy moths flying around. So she's gonna get the netting on it, and it may stop the bigger moths as well as also the birds. So we're gonna stick that up as well. We started that yesterday. And also what I did yesterday, what took a lot of my time, is I mixed up the insecticide, the BT, and sprayed a lot of my plants. I sprayed all of the cabbage, and from what I've heard is that if they can't get to the cabbage, they'll get to your tomatoes. So I sprayed the tomatoes as well. And then I also, we still got some more leaves to pick out of here. We also got all of the peas done too. I'll walk over here. So this is what took the longest to spray everything. It probably took 4 gallons. I mixed up two of the little tanks. It's a 2-gallon sprayer that I have. So it took 2 sprayers to spray all of my okra and all of my field peas. It's kind of cool today. The last 2 days was in the I don't know, it got down to 50. I think right now it's like 65. We didn't get any kind of really cold weather, but this is still not warm enough to get these things growing. The corn is getting a little taller. I think when it gets a little hotter out here, they're gonna shoot up. So they're really looking great though. And I did not thin any of my corn. I'd like somebody to tell me how far apart should I be spacing these corn. Should I start thinning them before they get bigger? When should I thin them? Of course I need to get these rows healed. I checked out Haas Tools, their healer that they have. So I'd really like to get one of those, but we haven't done that. We started healing some tomatoes yesterday with a hoe. Got some of that, so we're gonna work some of this grass up. I want to get a tiller to get in between these rows. I can't do it with my tiller from my tractor because it's too wide. That's how I'm going to cultivate these rows and get all this grass taken out. So that's coming. I just haven't gotten it yet. So I also did spray these plants were transplanted. This didn't come from a seed. All the others came from a seed, and those are getting big. I did see some leaves that might have had a little bit of damage from a worm or something, so I sprayed all of these, the underneath side and also the top side. I was using 7 Dust on them, and I just couldn't get the bottom side. My friend that was here yesterday said that his father on his farm, what he would do, he would put the 7 Dust in a sock, and then he would be able to dust the bottom side of the leaves as well by popping it. So I didn't think of that, so that's maybe a good idea that I might do, because I do have some 7 Dust. The onions are doing good, the radishes, well, and I do plan on making when I start pulling some more of these out, I'm gonna use some of this. You get so many vital nutrients from these radish leaves. A lot of people just cut them off. Well, we did too before I started hearing about this, that from the comments, that the radish leaves provide good salad, or you can smother it down, and I do plan on doing that too. So I don't want to lose any of these leaves just throwing them away. I want to try it. These plants look like they're doing well. It took them a really long time to come up. I must have lost one somewhere in here because there's nothing. So I'm gonna plant something else in this area, and this one don't look like it's gonna make it either. So I need to get this till back up. But I'm gonna leave this one in the ground because it looks like this one's taking off. So yeah, that's it. The cantaloupe is growing. I don't see a whole lot out of them, but they've grown a little bit more. I don't see a whole lot of growth change, but and let's go to the watermelon. There's our watermelon. That's one of the. And I've gotten a comment also to get all of this grass out of this garden, and oh, I agree. Definitely agree with you. And it's one of my stressors that this grass is here and I'm not taking care of it. It's not that I don't want to, it's just my time is severely limited on how much time I have in the garden. But my kids love to be in the garden. My sons, as you've seen, that last row I was showing you the cantaloupe, it was clean because he was on his knees picking grass. So these guys really are a great help to me. All of my kids enjoy the garden, and my chicken eggs are still being incubated, 48 of them, and they are going to be ready in a couple of weeks. So I got to get moving on that. Probably not going to get all 48 hatched. That's just kind of like a chance you take. You don't know which ones were fertilized to know how many, but normally you would get half of that, as in your biddies that you get out of the incubation periods. So if I get 20 chickens, that's more than what I wanted, but I'll take them. I'll take all of them. And he can't tell me what type of chicken because there's a mixture from. He has so many different chickens that he can't tell me what are the types. So, and it doesn't matter to me because he's incubating them for me and I'm gonna get them. So we went to Tractor Supply. We went to one feed store and they absolutely had no biddies. It's hard to get biddies over here, and you can forget getting a larger chicken. You just can't get it. Everybody's getting them. And when I went to Tractor Supply, there was some customers there that were loading up on some chicken products for a start of their chicken yard. And I'm in the same boat. I've never had chickens before, so this is gonna be a new thing for us. And we've been looking at what type of little chicken coop we're gonna make, and that's still on the table. And definitely I'll keep you in the process. You'll be able to watch as we build it, or if we just get a little rent to own building. And I'm still on the fence of which area I want to put my chickens. I did say in one video where I wanted to put them, but then I have another area where Mr. Brown, which is the first owner of all of this property, he's passed away now, bless his heart, but he had a big area for a chicken yard. And so we are gonna and I already have fence up probably on 3 sides, maybe 2 sides, so that would kind of cut down how much fencing I would need. I could just utilize that fence as well as putting up the ones that I don't have, because that fencing is expensive. But I do want to get this going. It's going to be awesome. I think I want to make it look really nice, and then the chickens are happy. The place where Mr. Brown had it, he had a lot of shade, so there was a lot of trees, and it's right adjacent to the second garden. And so they won't. It gets really hot here in the sunlight. So you know, it gets really hot in the summer here, and when it does, I worry that I overheat my chickens. So it might be a better place for it. Okay, here we go. Here's the second garden. This is that muscadine tree I told y'all about, and look, the birds didn't attack the muscadine. I wonder if I'm going to get one. Here's another tree, another muscadine tree. Maybe I ought to put some of that netting that I have, shall we, over it. And I can protect my one little muscadine.
We've been 6 years here. And
we've been here 6 years and we've never had a chance to be able to get any off of it. Here's the second garden. We'll start over here. I've already clipped the parsley down to nothing, so now they're back up again. So that's growing. Onion chives are not really, we didn't do anything with those. The lima beans, I got some more lima beans and I plan on planting those. So the old farmers here say you don't plant your beans till June. What do they say? The dark of June is what they said. So I still have time. Oh, looks like I got some few little holes in my leaves over here, so I'm gonna have to come over here and get this sprayed before it. Now that I've seen that one little hole, that worries me. So that's my beans. There's a few more plants of beans that are growing. There's another one. There's not much that's going on in here. There's one row that I didn't plant at all, so I need to find out which one it is. And the rain caught my plant. Here's one of my tomatoes. It's laying on the ground. But that's okay. Tomatoes are designed to vine and not be standing up on a stake. We do it to get the tomatoes out. The tomatoes' normal deal is to lay on the ground and travel out about 10 foot and just keep making roots and keep planting seeds, just dropping seeds so they can get more growth. So I need to get this tied up. Okay, so got that plant tied up. It was laying over. And gosh, man, they're shooting up. These plants are getting tall. This one was, how I know is because it's taller than my pan. Remember? I told you that it was getting close to the pan. It's gotten taller. This one here needs to be tied up. Two are getting up there in height. That's that second set of cucumbers I planted. And all of my tomatoes are, I need to break that off. Yes, not. Give me that off of there. And get this one tied up. And here is the third garden, the small one, that I put tomatoes and peppers. This is Mother's Day update. Everything still looks great. I don't see any dead plants, which is a good sign. And these plants are coming up. I'm gonna spray these tomato plants too with that BT, just to keep everything off of my plants as much as I can. So I did add some compost. So we're a little higher now because they were growing. This is my potatoes. I need to add some more compost, so we're gonna get out here probably after lunch or something and get some more compost added, get it a little higher up to the plants. Now we're at the fourth garden and it looks pretty good. Look at the things coming up. Kelly, look at your onions coming up.
Grow, grow, grow.
Grow, grow, grow. Grow, grow, grow.
That's awesome.
So we got some onions coming up, guys.
I
Check
wonder
this
which
out.
ones these are.
I'm not sure.
Because one was shallots and one was like red onions or something.
Right. So we got onions and shallots planted here. And the honeydew melon, that's growing. Great. Awesome. Awesome. Awesome goodness right here. Awesome goodness, guys. These peas are growing. Look at them coming out the ground, man. My goodness, it didn't take them long. And they all come up perfect. Nice. And then my corn. I got 3 rows of corn, and all of them are coming up out of the ground.
I don't know what this is.
And
Oh, wait, I do.
here's a cantaloupe that I planted, and all of that is coming out of the ground. And these are those ones in that little tray that I gave up on, but I stuck them in the ground, and hey, they're growing. They're growing. So I'm not sure what else I have in here.
Salad all the way down.
Down here.
What our note says.
So I don't know if anything's starting to come up. Well, there's one right here. That's okay. We have been blessed with all these plants growing. The what?
Purple Hall and Contenders.
Okay, so I got Purple Hall and Contenders. And then we have the corn.
Oh, and I think those things at the end are big white onions.
And then the onions that are growing are the white onions. Awesome. Awesome. Mother's Day barbecue. While this is getting ready, let me show you what we're gonna eat today. And this is the meat that we're about to put on the pit. All seasoned. The wieners got a cut in them. There's some local sausage. We got beef. We got chicken. And we got some pork and beans in the pot. And I got my sauce heating up. Stir on that a little bit. Alright, and then this is all the ingredients for the rice dressing, which we have, turn the light on here, which we have the ground meat, we have the Richard's dressing mix, and some onions from the freezer, and different seasonings. It's the best dressing that you can ever taste once my wife is done with it. It's time to put some meat on the grill. While it's cooking, I figure I'd tell y'all a story. A story about Boudreaux and Thibodaux. They from back down south, way down south in Louisiana. And let me tell you something about Boudreaux and Thibodaux. Boudreaux one day was driving down the road and he passed in front of Thibodaux's house. And he looked over and he seen Thibodaux and he seen some wood chipping off some wood. So he pulled into the driveway and he said, "Thibodaux, what you doing, Shy? And then Thibodeau turned, he said, well, he said, I'm busy, I ain't got time to talk to you. He said, well, no, what you doing? He said, well, I'm making me a wooden rocket ship. He said, a what? He said, a rocket ship, and I'm making it out of wood. He said, okay. He said, I understand that, but where you going? He said, well, Boudreaux, he says, I'm taking this thing to the sun. Boudreaux started to laugh, you know, and he said, Thibodeau, now be serious. You can't take that rocket ship to the sun. It's made out of wood. It made Thibodeau stop what he's doing. He dropped his tools and turned. He said, Boudreaux, he says, I'm going at night. Look at that, guys. We're getting there. We're not done yet. We got the wieners cooked. Got some little thin slice cut pieces of meat. A piece of pork chop with the bone in. Some of the wieners are darker than normal, but that's how my wife likes them. She said, make sure you make them dark. So I did. Here's the next batch. So we have the sausage still on there. We put some more pork chops, thin cut slices of beef meat, and of course the chicken isn't ready yet, so the chicken is still on there, and we're gonna keep turning those and adding. And there we go. Cook, baby, cook. Cook these. Tried it like this before, barbecue like this, you need to give it a shot. Grill it, browns on one side, flip it over. Once you flip it over after the first side on the grill, and if you flip it over and it's brown, then put your barbecue sauce on it. And every time you turn it, put barbecue sauce on it until it's ready. Sauce bon. This is what's left with the rice dressing and the pork and beans. Meat is still outside. She also made a salad, and then on top of the cake, my daughter made some of these treats, which they're so good. I'm about to snack on that. Everybody finished eating. Get out the shadow. So anyway, that's where we are. And Shelby is wanting something to eat. Well, my wife had a great Mother's Day. We had a great time. We had a good barbecue. Enjoyed the good food. She enjoyed her gifts and all the stuff the kids made. So now it's almost the end of the day. The sun's almost down. Waiting for that to happen so I can finish spraying my plants. Today's Sunday, so today's the day that my generator self-tests. So right now it's running in self-test mode. So I got to get my insecticide on these plants today. Also get some Miracle Grow on them as well once this sun gets out of the way. Once the sun's down, I'll let it calm down a little bit, cool off, and then get that stuff on it. besides that, I think that's all I'm gonna get accomplished today, except for getting inside my office and starting them reports. You know, got to get those done to start the week off tomorrow. Had a long day. My wife really enjoyed it. So I hope all of you mothers out there had a wonderful day today. Happy Mother's Day to all of y'all. We can walk over here because I told you guys that I'm gonna be getting chickens. So I'll show you the area. Well, don't laugh at it because it's really grown up. This is the garden, the second garden. And back over here, it starts up here. I think he had chickens back here. So you see this big fence? So this whole long fence is, surprisingly, it don't look too bad. The posts probably need to be changed. But this fence goes all the way to here. So I don't really think I'm gonna be able to use that. But that's the shed. And I think he had chickens in there. So we'll go over there and look at it. Come on, Shelby. I may not be able to do anything to salvage this little building. But the fence is laid down a little bit here. We'll have to pick that up. There is a straight fence that goes. Get out of there. So this whole thing would have to be, I might be able to salvage the tin off of it. It looks like they had holes cut in it.
Hi.
Hi, over there. This might be a lost cause. I don't think my wife would like this as a chicken coop. But it looks like that fence is good to the back. It looks sturdy. So I have a back fence, I have this side fence, and I don't know what this is, but it's something. And then all I would have to do is come off of the fence here and run all the way that way. And then clean this grass up. I could actually, hey, I have some ideas, and if I have another fence, I can make a garden back here once all of these trees are out of here. And then let the chickens stay on one side. And come on, Shelby. Let the chickens stay in one yard. And then cross them over into the next yard, and then till this yard up for a garden. And let them stay over there on that side. Over here like another run. And then just keep crossing them over each year. That sounds like might be a good little plan here. Now, there is a lot of stuff to get out of here. That's a lot of land that's really not being used for nothing. We got to do something. We got to do something with all of this. So that's one of the projects for this summer. If I can just get the chicken yard ready, because after I have the little bitties, it's not going to take but probably 6 weeks, maybe a little longer. When they'll be ready to be cut loose into a yard, I'm just going to have to get all of this ready. And they got some mess over here. This is unexplored territory. A lot of mess. I bet you this might be even a compost bin that he's had. He's had something here. Or this might be torn tin from the barn when the barn burned down. I see some tin over there as well. That might be what that is. There's a lot of tin hanging around that I can utilize. Come on, Shelby, let's go. Shelby, let's go. Come on. This is where my daughter wants horses. She wants to put some fence up and get a horse or two. So I'm not too sure about that. I don't know if I'm ready for that. But it'd be good transportation if we don't have cars to ride. But I have no experience with horses. So a little afraid on even trying to do that. All right, well, let me get this generator shut down. And and get on inside. Again, happy Mother's Day for all of you guys. So I worked this ground back up right here. This is where the tomato plants that died by my hand. So I worked it up and actually made me a furrow. And we are planting some green navy beans down this row, just to take this row up. And this row here, we are planting white navy beans. So this row is going to be a little bit longer, but at least I'll have some use out of it. We'll get all of that in the ground. And we took the advice of a commenter, a subscriber, and she said to plant marigolds in the garden. And guess what Miley's doing? Plant marigolds. So I think we got 40, but she's putting 2 to the ends of each row. And I wouldn't put 3, but I guess so. We'll get them on the ends, and then whatever else we have, then we'll plant them. We'll space them in the garden. I'm gonna try to do the 25 foot. We may have to get some more, but eventually we'll get all of those planted. And the reason is to ward off the insects, because they don't like the smell. And this may help my insect problem. Okay, so let me get this done. Now I'm going to go ahead and water in the beans before I cover them. Give them a drink of water. Anytime you plant them, you should water. Don't forget to water. So Devin's working on the other row. By the time I get this done, he may be at the end, and we'll get all of this covered up. And we'll get to that row and do the same thing for that one. We had a good sized rain, but gosh, this dirt looks little on the top at least. The top layer is dry. Once the sun goes down and they hit them with some water, I may flood the garden. Okay, that's good. All right, so let's get this thing covered. And don't forget to prepare for the unknown.